While the Boeing company is struggling to keep up with delivery targets for the 737 MAX in real life, Herpa is pumping out 737 MAX models like there is no tomorrow, and one of them is this MAX 9 of Turkish Airlines, which we will take a closer look at in today's episode of review thanks to the great prices of the F&B shop. Do check them out, the link to them is in the video description below. And with that, hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where we today, as mentioned, will take a closer look at a Boeing 737 MAX9 of Turkish Airlines. At the front of the box we have a cutout so we can get a glimpse of the aircraft model inside, and on top of that we have the Turkish Airlines branding. We've said a lot about the box design from Herpa Wings, how awful that is, and they continue with that unfortunately in 2024, with no signs of ever wanting to change. So the only thing of interest here to mention is simply the fact that this is a limited edition. And here she is, the Boeing 737 MAX9 in the current standard livery of Turkish Airlines. Now, we have seen many Turkish Airlines models delivered from Herpa Wings over the years in scale 500, and this is yet another narrow body, and I'm quite happy with that because I do like seeing Turkish Airlines models. However, I would honestly have wished for maybe a MAX 8 or maybe an A320, something we just haven't seen from Herpa Wings, but they tend to go for the slightly larger aircraft types in the Turkish Airlines fleet. So here we have the MAX 9. But how has Herpa done with this aircraft model? Well, that is what we want to find out in today's episode of review. And we will find out by taking a closer look at it, starting off with the tail section. And on the vertical stabilizer, we find the Turkish Airlines branding. On the fuselage, we then have the full registration code of the aircraft type specification, and we can also see the tulip, which of course originates from Turkey. Furthermore, we find some detailing around the APU exhaust towards the tail of the aircraft, and on top of the fuselage we have the addition of a set dome where Herpa has been rather generous with its proportions, or in other words, it's massively oversized. If we then move to the front of the aircraft, we can see across the fuselage the writing of Turkish Airlines. Just behind that we also find the Turkish flag. We also have a few static ports, perhaps some sensors, not much, but every little bit helps. We of course also find a Star Alliance logo, of which the airline is a full member, and underneath the cockpit windows we have the name of the aircraft, which I however will not try to pronounce. The cockpit section itself then consists of the cockpit windows with the metallic edges around those, and we have the window wipers printed on as well, looking quite nicely, but maybe some petro-tubes here could have really elevated the model further, but Herpa is as usual skipping out on details like that. Then we can move on to the engine nacelles. Now, they have been kept in all white, just as most of the fuselage, but do have the silver leading edge printed on, as well as some safety markings. That does help out the engines for sure. Also, the physical detailing of the engines is actually quite nice. Very lovely with the chevron nozzles, but also when we look into the front of the engines, we can very nicely see the engine fan blades. Then on the fuselage, just above the wings, we have the emergency exits printed on. Behind that, we also have the now infamous additional emergency exit of the 737 MAX9. But that all leads us, of course, to take a closer look at the wings themselves, starting off with the top side, where we have the different flap slats and spoilers carved out fairly nicely. We have the markings for the emergency exits printed on, as well as the full registration code of the aircraft, which we also can find on the underside of the wings, alongside more nice physical detailing. Then we, of course, also have the winglets of the 737 MAX. Here we also have the Turkish Airlines branding printed on, and I think Herpa has overall done a fairly decent job with that. Now, the landing gear of this aircraft model is the standard landing gear that Herpa uses for all their 737 MAX models nowadays, which is the height-adjusted landing gear. That is good because it looks much more realistic. The only grievance I still have with it is the fact that we do not get any printed details around the front landing gear. On the belly of the aircraft, we do find a hole in the fuselage for a stand, which is not included with this aircraft model, but it doesn't destroy any printed details, at least that. And then last but not least, we do also have the doors to the cargo compartments printed on here at the back of the aircraft, and also here at the front of the aircraft. So there we have it, the Boeing 737 MAX9 in the current standard livery of Turkish Airlines from Herpa Wings in scale 1 to 500. And what can we say about this aircraft model? Well, the fact that I would have wished for a, well, MAX 8, an A320, or even a 737-800 in the current standard livery of Turkish Airlines, because we have never seen any of that so far, shouldn't take anything away from this aircraft model. Because the model itself is actually, I mean, quite a nice Scale 500 aircraft model. The only major grievances I have is really the fact that the set dome is so massively oversized, which is a shame, but nowadays Herpa seems to raffle the size of their set domes because it's just completely random what they're adding and what they don't. But overall, as I say, this is a really rather nice 737 MAX in Scale 500. The mold that Herpa uses for their 737s is brilliant, and with the height-adjusted landing gear, they have really taken a massive step forward with their 737 MAX models. So if you are currently on the lookout for a Scale 500 narrowbody of Turkish Airlines, then this is a solid option. The only thing is the official retail price by Herpa Wings is at 37 euros, and the model is just not worth that. So try to find it at a discount from any retailer out there. I personally would of course recommend the FMB shop, and then yes, it is worth having in one's collection. And with that, we have reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed it, feel free to leave a like. If you are new around here, why not hit subscribe? And with that, thanks so much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.